Welcome to the Entrepreneur on Campus podcast. Let's go. My name is Matthew Brown. I'm a student, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love learning. I've created this podcast to help you discover hidden opportunities. I interviewed Steven Larsen. Steven Larsen is somebody who is very famous in his own little world. He is very well known in the ClickFunnels community, which is a marketing community. And I was able to reach out to Steven and set up an interview. He schedules blocks out to be able to be interviewed. And a couple months ago, I scheduled an interview with him. And then I looked recently, and he's booked for the next 2 or 3 years. And so I got super fortunate with my timing and that I was able to interview him. And Steven is an amazing storyteller. He knows a lot about selling to people, just in all types of formats. And he was able to share a lot of interesting things about marketing, about what funnels are, about the way that we should sell things and how we can be profitable. And so I hope that you guys can all enjoy this interview with Steven Larsen. Awesome. Here I am live with Steven Larsen. Steven, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Hey, I'm excited. Thanks for having me, man. This will be awesome.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I flew out to Nashville in February and went to an event called Funnel Hacking Live, and you were a speaker there.
Yeah.
And it got me super hyped up, and I know that you host some of your own events. And anyway, I'm really excited to have you here on the show with me.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah, so Steven, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your story. Can you just tell me like what you've been up to, where you've been?
Yeah, honestly, so my wife and I got married when I was just starting college. I went to BYU, Idaho, and it became pretty serious pretty fast because she'd already graduated, and I was kind of honestly just starting. And I would come back from classes, and she'd still be in bed. And I'd be like, you okay? Is this all right? And it was really rough. Like that was really hard on me because I kept coming back home and she was like, oh no, it's fine. Everything's okay. And it became apparent pretty quickly that she was not okay. And she was just kind of saying that. And reluctantly after, I don't know how many weeks, she finally told me that she had only been eating one meal a day. And it was because we were so poor, she couldn't eat, and I could not feed her. And we were not making any money. I'm from Denver, Colorado, but we both moved up to, that campus, and the student population there is so huge that people are working for like $3 an hour. I was like, we're not gonna make it. And I go, and thankfully it's like insanely easy to get student loans in this country. So we go, and I'm like, we're applying to get student loans. We can't get jobs. And all the while, she's eating one meal a day, but she'd make me lunch, which was like super. I mean, that was hard. It was very hard on me personally. She was so weak, she just would stay in bed. And so, if you want to feel like you're not a man, like that's probably the way to do it. I mean, it really wrecked me. It messed with my sense of self-esteem pretty heavily. And I went and I did something that was culturally against the way I was raised. And I called my dad and I asked for money. And I said, it's rough. I went, it was a building on campus, closed the door in an empty classroom. And I still remember the sound of like the ceiling fans, and I was nervous. I worked hard. I had a lot of jobs growing up in high school. And worked a lot of labor jobs, I was very used to working hard. And so my dad always taught me to work hard. One of the biggest gifts he gave me. Anyway, so I went and I called my dad and I was like, hey Dad, I can't feed my new wife. And I said, could you float us some money? We have student loans coming, but they're going to be here in like 4 to 6 weeks is what they told us. We can't last till next week. Could you just float us like $3,000? We'll pay you back as soon as the money shows up because we know it's on the way. Seemed reasonable to me, but he paused for a while on the phone. And my dad's super wise, and he goes, son, no. He goes, if I give you this money now, You will not exhaust the resources you didn't know you had. And that's exactly what he told me. And it was life changing for me. And I wasn't not a lazy person, but like it kicked me into this gear in entrepreneurship that I think most people fail to get into. And instead of like actually actively selling stuff, right? Most people will go out and they make their freaking business card. That does nothing for you. Okay. The logo, the slogan, all this garbage, tons of branding stuff. I'm telling you, like that stuff does not matter. I ended up going, so for the next 4.5 years after that, I went through 12 business failures, and I was the only kid, right? It was me and like two others in all of college that were actually trying to do actual business and actually try to sell stuff. And it was launch, fail, launch, fail, launch, break even, launch, fail, launch, fail, launch, fail, break even. And I did tons of stuff. Real estate, diamonds, that was a crazy one. Ebooks, door-to-door sales. Again, I did telemarketing. I was a traffic driver for Paul Mitchell. I did a lot of stuff, and I was just running hard on the side of school. And as a result of it, I was learning far more than anyone else in my classes. I wasn't studying entrepreneurship; I was doing it, and it was one of the. I just wanted it, and I was sick of being poor. And so what I started doing was I started recording videos of myself while being broke, stating my goals at the beginning of each year. And you can see them. They're actually on my YouTube channel. And I joined the army. You can see my buzzed head, and like I didn't have the beard, obviously. And like, hey, my name's Steven. It's terrible on videos. I'm Steven. Hey, I'm sick of being broke. My goal is to make just $1,000 a month. That would change our life. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. It was this like unfathomable amount, right? And I would run to that. And anyways, I started building things on the internet, and I ran into this company called ClickFunnels. And I was like, this is crazy, because I could go build stuff on the internet without having a tech team. And because most of my ideas, like most people's ideas now, especially in college, probably include somewhat of the internet somehow. Mine did too. And I just like, I don't have money to go pay 25 grand for them to build a cool website, or even $500. That was like a huge stretch because we were still living on loans and like a really small army paycheck. And so I ran into ClickFunnels, and I was like, I got to get to their event. And I didn't have any money to get to their event. So I started trading what we call a sales funnel. I'd go to these companies. I said, hey, I know you don't know what a sales funnel is, but I will build you a sales funnel for your company. If it makes money, let's talk about me getting paid. You all right with that? If not, don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. They're like, all right. And so I went and I kind of shotgun offered this to tons of companies, and I found one that looked like I could blow it up pretty easily. I really hadn't built that many funnels. I didn't really know how to do most of the stuff I said I knew how I was going to go do, but I just YouTubed it, man. And I was like, I'm running, baby. And I went and I asked all these companies. I found the one that looked like it could really do it. And then I just YouTube, and that's why I wear this Google It shirt. Go Google it, baby. Right? I got a Google and YouTube education, and I just slinged this thing, just bootstrapped it the way up. And they paid. I started trading funnels for plane tickets to that ClickFunnels event, and funnels for hotel nights, and funnels for the event ticket. And I just bootstrapped my whole way there, and got good enough at it, because that took me about a year. Because I was in Army, I was married, we had kids, I was in college, like life was busy. Still is. But I get to that first event, and they knew who I was. And I was good enough at it that I ended up sitting next to the guy that created this whole process, basically popularized it. And that's how it's happened. And since then I've left my job, and I work, we're doing awesome, man.
Yeah.
First million, we're crushing, baby. So it's fun. It's been a really intense scenario though. So I love that this is what your podcast is. Like there's a lot of business people, students, I'm hoping hear this. Like it took me 17 tries before I actually made one that actually blew up. 17. And then it was on my 18th or 19th that was really like the $1 million explosive one. And so it's always funny because people will be like, I tried it, didn't work. You tried it? Are you kidding me? Sack up and do it. You know what I mean? Like you gotta run, baby. Don't go get a business loan. You don't need that crap. Don't give up any equity in your company. That's none of those mentalities that I learned in college have actually been the things that have paid me or made any of my things successful. Shark Tank, going and getting a loan, because I'm assuming you're a business student. I would go and we would write these 15, 30-page business plans, and we'd go pitch actual loan, business loan people. I'm sure you've done that. Like, you don't have to do that route. that is a method, and in my opinion, a very bad one. All you got to do is learn how to build what a sales funnel is. You own it all, and it just rains cash on you. We have sales coming in automatically. We've already had like $3,000 coming today. I haven't been a part of it because of automated sales processes. So
Yeah.
that's what I would go study if I was in college.
Awesome. Yeah. So
I just ran hardcore in like 8 minutes.
no, that was awesome. I love hearing your story. I haven't heard it that in depth before, so that's awesome. So, out of curiosity, you're saying sales funnels, you build them. You don't go and pitch it to somebody. But is it something that you want to sell down the road, or is it something that you just want to keep generating revenue from?
Oh, so as far as the actual business goes?
Yeah, like do you want to sell your business eventually, or is it something that you're just going to keep on building?
Some guys do. In the e-com space right now, e-com space, man, those things sell for like an 8x multiple. It's ridiculous. So still using a sales funnel. I'll just tell you this. So the first company I was building those funnels for that paid those tickets to me to get to that first event, what was interesting is like I went and I built this sales funnel. They had a physical product. It was an awesome product, and they were shipping it out. And it was cool. So I said, hey, let me build this funnel for you. And I went through all the things that I was learning about how to build these. And we launched it, and it just started raining cash on them. They brought in another 50 grand super fast, and it was just really cool.
Wow.
And I was like, it worked. Holy crap. And something really interesting happened. And since then, this has happened probably 2 or 3 other times. Day number 1 that we launched, they're always like, oh my gosh, on the phone, holy crap, this is so awesome. This is amazing. This is so many sales. Day number 2, they're always like, wow, this is still a lot of sales. Holy crap, this is amazing. Is it always going to be this way? And then day number 3, they're always like, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. You're selling too fast. And I remember the first time it happened with that first company, I was like, who would want less sales? You psycho, you idiot. And I click, and I would just hang up. And I just stopped answering my phone for like 2 weeks. And this CEO calls me just mad furious like 2 weeks later. And he's like, dude, turn off the funnel. And I was fed up. It's like, dude, who wants less sales? You're ridiculous. And he goes, Steven, you're going to bankrupt us. And I was like, what? And he goes, you're selling so fast that you're sucking all the cash out of the business so that we can buy more product. I can't pay my people. And it was the first time in my life that I ever realized that a sales funnel, is completely different than a business. And so what you learn at college is business creation. And it's important, but it comes second. What a funnel just generates revenue. You don't really learn that. I have a marketing degree. That's marketing and entrepreneurship is really what I went into, along with a design and a focus on internet. And that's really what I did. But I never, ever, ever learned or realized, no one sat down and explained to me, look, there is a monstrous difference between a revenue system, which if any company has sold ever, they have a funnel. Just most people don't build it with intent. So that's why it sucks, right?
Yeah.
What they do is they go build a business. And I had never realized until that company that there is like this happened to be the beginning of last year. I launched my funnel, and we sold so fast. It was just me. I sold so fast. It was like 200 grand came in real quick in like 2 months. And I was the support system. There wasn't a ticketing system.
You're like, oh crap, I actually have to fulfill all this.
Yeah, I was doing the fulfillment and doing the boxing and the putting things out, right? I was the one that was doing like answering all the emails and following up with people who had a final question before they buy. Like, there was no business. I was the business. There's no systems, right? So that's when I really realized, like, oh my gosh, like, okay, there's a funnel, and every business that's sold anything ever has a funnel. Again, most people don't build it with intent, but then there's the business, and all the business does. It's so funny. Like, I remember writing some papers in college, and they'd be like, define a business. What is a business? And we'd go to these fluffy areas, and I totally would, and everyone would. And sometimes I think the professors would actually want that. A business is this thing. And there's this book that they had me read once. The business has a soul, and that's freaking crap. Okay. A business is just a series of systems that generates a lead and fulfills on it. That's all a business is. A funnel just brings in those leads. It's just part of it. And understanding the difference between those two, that was huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully that's
Awesome.
helpful.
Yeah, that's helpful. So I know something that you and both Russell, owner of ClickFunnels, talk about a lot is building a following, starting a podcast or a blog or something like that. And I don't know if this is actually accurate. I heard somebody say that you said this, so we'll see. But they said that if you if you publish something every single day for a year, that you'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life. Something like that. Is that like on track?
Yeah, it's pretty true. We live in this really interesting age now, and I've had people get mad when I say this, but it's true. You know, we're no longer just in the information age. We are very much in the attention age. There are people with really good products who make far less money than people who just know how to make a little bit more noise. You know, there's a lot of people out there, they just don't know how to they don't know how to make noise in the good way, right? And so because of that, they have all these great products, but no one's the wiser. And the person with the worst product is making more money. So it's interesting, like to be a marketer is to be a noisemaker. And so if you can just, I strongly believe like that was one of the things Russell told me to go do when I started working with him. He's like, dude, you got to start publishing, start podcasting. And I was like, oh, what will I say? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I haven't made the $1 million yet, you know, at that point. And I was like, it was all these false beliefs. And I was like, well, what if I just document what I'm learning and doing? And so I started that. So the first like 15 episodes of the show, like they suck. They're so bad. Of my personal show, they're terrible. But I was just doing it. And most of the time I find when an entrepreneur starts to publish and document and just make some noise, it builds the following enough to catch whatever they create. It's like a safety net for anything you launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's good. So another question I have, I know that you get a lot of kind of incomers that are interested in looking into sales funnels and everything.
Yeah.
So, and you're a master of the offer creation and kind of pre-picking what market to attack and finding a red ocean, right? That's just tons of people coming in and then creating a new blue ocean within that. Can you talk about like what if you were to start again right now? You didn't have any business or anything,
Yeah.
and like where would you go? What industry would you go in? Like how do you go about researching a product and like where do you want to start?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. For probably the first 3 years, I was asking myself, like, what should I sell? What should I sell? And I was studying all these marketing tactics and ways to create noise around a product, but I didn't have a product, you know, so I'd be like, and I know a lot of people are that way. It's super common to have happen. And the reason is because we will, I mean, almost like abuse ourselves with the question, what should I sell? And it became this whip. You know, it's like, what should I sell? What should I sell? What should I sell? I know how I would sell it if I had it, but what is it? And a lot of people get stuck on that. And I did too. It wasn't until I switched the question that the whole game actually got a lot easier. It's the wrong question. That's not actually the one to start with. What should I sell comes like number 99. It's really, who do I want to sell? And do they have money? And are they willing to spend it? And are they a dream customer if I go and sell to them? Or is it going to be like this customer that's from the depths of hell and like sucks, you know, like the life out of me? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so you start the other way. You ask the question first, who do I want to sell? And it sounds really trivial, but when you understand the person that you want to be working with, and then you just understand the problems they're experiencing, what to sell comes really easy. And I wish I had done that. I wish I had chosen, I mean, I do that now, but it took me a long time to kind of discover that. No one really showed me that. I wish that I had said, like one of the products I put out was this little ebook, right? And I wrote this ebook and I had a ghostwriter go in and write the draft, and I went and rewrote it, and I put all this time, this effort, and you know, this energy into it. And I go to launch it, and I mean, it failed miserably. Like nobody bought it. It's still on Amazon. The thing sucks. Like it's terrible. No one bought it. It was an awful thing because my who was a poor college student, right? I was focused on selling. I had my own money, false beliefs. And because of that, like I was like, no, I shouldn't charge anything that's more than $100. I can't even think about charging something more. I would never pay $100. Like, well, you're not the one buying it. Like I had to get out of my own head. I'm not the one buying my own product. Therefore, my opinions really don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding the who, a rich who's willing to spend money, who's dying to, and they've got like this money in their pocket they're just begging to spend. They're just hoping to go buy something, and I'm going to go stand in the windfalls of that. And so that's how I operate more now. And I stack the cards in my favor rather than, well, I'll just sell 1,000 $1 products. That's terrible. It's way easier to sell one $1,000 product. It is way easier to sell expensive stuff. So if I was starting out again and anyone's like starting or whatever, watching this, like sell expensive stuff. Way easier, far easier as a better customer. The success rate is higher because they take it more serious. And just choose the who before you choose the product.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Steven, you're involved, you have Sales Funnel Radio. I know you're involved with Affiliate Outrage is what it's called, right?
Yeah.
So tell me kind of just the different, do you run multiple businesses? Is it all part of one business? What industries are you involved in?
So since realizing that a business is just a series of systems, I do run a couple businesses now, two in particular. I wouldn't recommend that people go try and build just tons of companies. Just do one. The only reason why I can do it now is because I have teams. So, there's 3 employees now, but then there's like 18 1099s on a monthly basis. Like it's a lot of people, and there's systems and there's teams and there's procedures that we all do. And it's the same rinse and repeat processes that most people are doing. Because of that, I can run a couple things. I would never recommend someone does a whole bunch, but I have, so Sales Funnel Radio is this podcast, this show. My main event is called Offer Mind. Offer Mind was created because I'm a coach for ClickFunnels, and I spend so much time with new people, years, right? 3-4 years now. And there's been 25,000 people now that I've got through personally through this process. It's a lot. I'd be an idiot to not see patterns. And so the Offer Mind event is in response to the biggest hiccups I see people run into. So that's why we created that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. So a lot of the people, like I mentioned to you, a lot of the people that are listening to this podcast, they don't really understand what sales funnels are, what an offer is. So we don't have too much time left, but can you just describe what an offer is? Maybe give an example.
Yeah. So an offer is nothing more than a core product plus additional value. And the additional value could be more products, right? You're like, hey, when you buy this, you also get these other products, right? And you see that in retail and grocery stores when you go to, get clothes or whatever. It's just a core product plus value on top of it. And it could come in the form of another product. It could come in the form of just a better story that sold it. It also could come in the form of a stronger guarantee. But we take a product and we turn it into an offer. And when you do that, you don't have to go fight on being the cheapest. You actually can be premium in relation to everyone else who's selling, and people are happy about it. So I don't sell products, I sell offers. And that was a big thing I had to learn too that college didn't teach me. A funnel is nothing more than a sales message and an offer. And so that's why I say, like, if anyone has sold anything ever, there was a funnel. Just most people don't go and create it with intent, which is why they're garbage. And like when I was doing door-to-door sales, I was the funnel, right? I went and I had a sales message and I had an offer. I'm the funnel. Now, a lot of the way people talk about it now, though, a sales funnel, they're specifically meaning the internet. And the internet is just a series of pages, right? A funnel on the internet is just a series of pages that brings them through, hey, do you want this free thing? It's like, yeah, and they go and they opt in. On the next page, it's like, do you want this thing that's really awesome, but it's $7? Like, yeah, that'd be really cool. And the next page is like, hey, while you're here, what if we send you this $50 thing? And then it's like, how about this $300 thing? No? Okay, what about a payment plan on that $300 thing? It's just a way to upsell people and add more value without being annoying, right? You're not there to be like, how about this? How about this? How about this? So anyways, that's really what it is. Amazon's funnel, you buy that first product, and then when you're checking out, they're like, well, do you want to add insurance? You know what I mean? I'm sure you've seen that. Or they're like, other customers also bought something like this, toss this other thing. And it's a way to get the first purchase and then go upsell people into buying other things. And very ethically, you obviously could be done with this. But anyway, that's really what it is. It's just a way to automate your sales.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just finish with 2 more questions. So First is, so do you think that it's important that everybody become a marketer, or can you let somebody else handle that for you?
I think that the entrepreneur should always be the marketer. I actually have a thing where I don't work with a company if the entrepreneur is not also the marketer. And it's because marketing drives the whole business. There was a teacher, a professor I had that was awesome. And he explained it to me this way. He's like, dude, because I was thinking about going into supply chain. I really liked supply chain a lot. I actually really liked finance a lot. And I could see myself doing any of those roles. And so I was talking to him and I was like, well, I don't know what to choose. And he goes, you should go into marketing because you like solving problems. And to be a marketer means you solve new problems all the time. Um, an entrepreneur is in the business of solving problems. A CEO, too many times, like in college, the thing that kept breaking me was that we kept trying to be CEOs. A CEO is very different than an entrepreneur. Eventually, the entrepreneur becomes a CEO, but they're not the same thing. Like I was saying, so an entrepreneur is in the business of solving problems. How can I solve problems and get paid for it? And I will get paid to the degree of the types of problems that I solve. So if I want to solve a problem of how I bag people's groceries at the end of checkout, I'm going to get paid like a grocery bagger. If I'm going to go solve bigger problems, though, I get paid more money. And so it's cool because you actually get, like, you don't get that in any other job you go to. You get paid what you get paid. But as an entrepreneur and as a marketer, you get paid the bigger types of problems that you solve, and it goes way up real fast. A CEO is in the business of systems, and they just create and tweak systems. How's my system for creating leads? How's my system for fulfilling? How's my system for support? And they just tweak and create systems. So be careful of the role you're trying to take on. I remember in college, people would be like, a CEO reads a book a week. Like, that's awesome, but you're not a CEO, right? Cut that out. Anyway, so I think everyone needs to be a marketer. I think if they want to be an entrepreneur, definitely. If they, I mean, I'm biased, but if everyone's a marketer, then no one can do the rest of the roles that I create systems for.
Right.
So it depends how you want to get paid.
Yeah. Awesome. So where can people learn more about you, Steven?
SteveJLarsen.com. That's the best place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this interview with Steven Larsen and for listening to other episodes as well of the Entrepreneur on Campus podcast. I'm super excited about it as always, and I want to keep bringing on valuable guests, and I want to be able to learn a lot more about the business world and hope that you can follow that journey and learn for yourselves as well. So thanks again for listening. Keep downloading the episodes, share with some friends, and I love you guys. Have a good one.